Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another version of the Bob McKillop Show presented by OrthoCarolina. Busy week again, Coach. When it gets into the conference season last week, a road win at St. Joe, a loss to Rhode Island at home. Talk to us about the St. Joe game, a 75-60 win for the Wildcats.
We had not played at St. Joe's in 2 years. Our first year in the conference, we were there and had a significant lead at halftime and came out in the second half, and they really put us on our heels, and they came away with a double-digit victory. So we had the memory of that. Did not play there last year. And, of course, we had a terrific win against them here last year when they wound up winning a conference title. It was a 99-93 game, I think, and they had graduated a number of their players. So we went up there, and I thought we started out very well. I thought we kept our poise throughout the game. Defensively, without doubt, Will McGarity set the tone for our defense, and that was the pivotal part of what we did there. We were outstanding defensively.
Offensively, you got a great game from Peyton Aldridge again.
Well, he did it every way possible. He did it from the three-point line, he did it from the foul line, he did it with the dribble, and he did it on the glass. So Peyton continues to emerge as one of the greats in Davidson history.
Coach, it's really hard to win on the road in conference, isn't it?
It certainly is, because you're dealing with travel. You're dealing with venues that are loud, boisterous, and a significant advantage for the home team. And we had just come off a plane trip to New York and come back, and already back on a flight Monday, so the turnaround was very quick.
The Wildcats came home on Friday night. Rhode Island was here. Another great crowd at Belk Arena, by the way. Coach, you were short with some players on the bench unable to play. You had a 9-point lead in the second half, but it just kind of slipped away at the end of the game.
Yeah, we had moments that we were absolutely brilliant. We were terrific with our ball movement, our screening, our cuts, and I think it got to a point where we got fatigued, and we took some shots maybe premature, and as a result of the premature shots, they got into a transition game and then scored some points in transition against us. And credit Rhode Island. Their defense was sensational, and it was relentless from the opening tap right through the end of the game.
I tell you, leads in college basketball, I don't know if it's a three-point shot or what, but we saw Kansas lose a 15-point lead against Iowa State at home. The big leads they go away quickly now.
Well, you immediately jump out to that lead, and all of a sudden they respond to our three-pointer and their own three-pointer. Then we make a great play and get a steal, and we're in transition, and we missed a layup, and on the layup we commit a foul. So what could be a 2-point plus for us becomes 2 points we don't get, plus 2 points they get at the foul line. And those are the kind of plays that stick in your mind in the aftermath of a game, and you don't realize of such consequence as you're sitting there in the stands watching how important that is. But I think our lead was 54-53 at that point, and then we went scoreless for maybe we didn't score a basket until 10 seconds to go in the game from that point where we had 54.
Coach, we're going to have a chance to meet one of your junior players in just a minute, Rusty Reigel, who's been a very good player for you, a tough, intense competitor.
Oh, wears Davidson on his heart, as tough and as aggressive as we could ever want. He's really shooting the ball very well in practice, and his looks in the games are good. He's making great decisions. He's going to knock him down, and we're confident that, as he did last year, he's going to make a significant contribution to helping us as we go down the stretch run in the Atlantic 10.
We're going to come back and have a conversation with Davidson's Rusty Reigel. We'll do it as the Bob McKillop Show continues. Welcome back, everybody. As Coach McKillop was saying before the break, Rusty Reigel means an awful lot to the Davidson basketball program. Jared Latch had a chance to talk to Rusty last week.
I'm joined this week on the player feature by Rusty Reigel here on the Bob McKillop Show. And Rusty, let's start out by looking at how this has really been a family affair with your dad playing at Davidson. Will played, now coaches. You followed in those footsteps to be here as well. What is that like?
I mean, it's been amazing so far. You know, growing up in Charlotte and being so close, we used to come up to games all the time, and my dad would tell us stories about his glory days over in Johnson Gym, and he loved bringing us up here, and we all loved coming as kids, and then having the chance to come up here after seeing my brother play also. It's been really, really cool, really fun. I love every day of it.
Well, somebody could look at your brother Will on the coaching staff, and I'm sure they wonder, what is that dynamic like? What is it like?
It's a everyday thing, and I get asked that question a lot by my family members, by my friends. They're always like, do y'all get into fights? Like, you know, what goes on in practice? And on a day-to-day basis, it's fairly calm. We handle each other pretty well. You know, every now and then he'll whisper something in my ear after a drill that'll set me off, and I have to kind of be like, all right, let me take some time to learn it for myself, and then afterwards you can tell me. And then when I've calmed down, it's a lot easier. But we kind of get under each other's skin every now and then. But I think in the end, it really benefits both of us for learning how to handle certain situations.
You mentioned the word learning there. What have you learned from him in his role as an assistant?
A lot. I mean, he really, one thing he always preaches is, our whole staff preaches toughness, and I think that's something Will can do really well. And me watching him when he was a player here, that was his thing. He was 6'5", he was playing in the post, he was going to go out there and hit somebody. And I think that's one thing everybody picks up on that he does really well and teaches well. And I think I've come to respect his basketball knowledge much more, rather than just being the guy who rebounds for him when I was younger. I'm now learning from him every day, and it's been really fun.
Now, the context of this program, Coach loves to preach certain things and focus on certain things.
Yeah.
Trust, commitment, and care are 3 words that are embedded in this program. Mm-hmm. Can you explain a little bit to the viewer about what that means for you personally and to this program?
Personally and program as a whole, it's everything really. It's how we carry ourselves every day, how we approach every game, and then within the team, it's how we react with each other, how we treat each other. On the court especially, you have to be able to trust your teammates and know when you make this decision, they're going to make the decision behind you or ahead of you that leads to a good outcome for the team. And in terms of commitment and care, that same thing. It's helping guys up off the court. It's getting in the gym for extra shots. And I think the team as a whole embodies that, and the program has done that for so long. And these new facilities just make everything easier and make it so that we can get into that gym and do the extra time, and it's awesome. And one thing Coach has been preaching along with TCC this year is decision, details, and discipline. And I think those both go hand in hand very well to help us.
Quickly before we finish, we talked about you're an econ major right now. You're going to pick up philosophy as a second. You're on the court playing, practicing, all that. So the Rusty Reigel that's away from those things, what else do you enjoy doing?
I'll switch it up every now and then. I like going down to, my family has a little place in South Carolina. We go relax there every now and then, maybe shoot the guns every now and then, or go hang out on Lake Norman with Manu. Manu's host family has a spot over there that's nice. Not so much right now, but in the summer we would do that. I'm a little bit of a gamer. I don't like to admit it, but I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons with Will McGarity, as he mentioned, and that's actually, it's really fun. It's really entertaining. So just kind of a little bit of everything.
Well, Rusty, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That'll do it on this week's Players segment. We'll be back with more on the Bob McKillop Show.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Bob McKillop Show. Each week, the Davidson basketball Twitter account requests submissions for the social segment using the hashtag AskMcKillop. And Coach, a couple of questions from fans this week. This is from Richard in Massachusetts. What's the typical halftime process like for Davidson as far as talking to the coaches, your message to the players? What do you try to get accomplished?
As soon as halftime starts, I immediately go into the locker room with the players and make 2 or 3 comments that I think might be a summary of everything that I saw in the first half. I try not to dwell on a half-ending mistake. I try not to dwell on a negative. I try to be uplifting with the brief message that I give. At that time, the assistant coaches are outside the locker room scouring the stats from the first half. I come back out, and then we spend 3 to 4 minutes first going through defense, adjustments we have to make, strengths we have. Then we go through offense, adjustments we have to make, things we could take advantage of, plays that we didn't run, plays that we should run, movements that we need to improve. And then we go back into the locker room and try to high point 3 points each on offense and defense, and then try to, again, inspire and energize them as we take the court for the second half.
Okay, Coach. Will from Charlotte wants to know how much you can take from watching coaches in other sports as far as the way they lead their teams and coach in clutch situations.
I study opposing coaches quite a bit. And I do it in basketball, I do it in football, I'll do it in baseball. Those are the 3 sports that I'll watch. And whether it's the college ranks or the pro ranks, I think football coaches reveal a lot. Because football coaches have so many on their team, not just the numbers on their roster, but the number of coaches they have to deal with, and the constant input from information they're getting through the headphones. And of course, you look at the way they act on the sidelines, you look at the way they interact after a defensive possession stop and the offense goes onto the field, or the offense comes off the field and the defense goes out there. So I'm constantly monitoring, watching, learning from all the coaches as they lead their teams.
The great Tom Osborne, that coached at Nebraska for so long in football, I heard him say one time that my job with all these players, 85 scholarship players, walk-ons, he said, my job is not to coach the players as much as it is to coach my staff.
I would agree, and I believe that I'm very, very fortunate to have the staff we have. And I don't assign one coach as recruiting coordinator, the defensive coordinator. I want our staff to roll their sleeves up and get every experience possible that an assistant coach could have, so that they're prepared to become head coaches. And that's why you have guys like Landry Kosmolsky, Jason Zimmerman, Matt Matheny, Jim Fox, Tim Sweeney, Billy Tom, Billy Armstrong. You have them as very successful head coaches now, because I think they have worn all the hats while they were here at Davidson. Well,
there's no question, Coach. They get great experience, and they learn, and they know all the ins and outs of the program.
I certainly am very fortunate to have the group we have right now, because they are sensational.
They're really good. The Coach Bob McKillop Show will continue. We're going to talk a little bit about recruiting on the national scale right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the Bob McKillop Show. Coach, most people are not old enough to remember, but basketball back in the late 1940s, 50s, Everett Case came down to North Carolina State and recruited all these great players from Indiana, and they were sensational. Then Frank McGuire came to Carolina and got New York players, and Lefty came here, was more eclectic. He got them from all over the place. You're pretty much a global guy when it comes to recruiting, aren't you?
I really believe that Lefty could not focus in on New York or could not focus in on Indiana because of the academic demands of Davidson admission process does not give you access to a number of players from one particular geographic region. And that's why Lefty expanded his recruiting horizons so vastly. Well, we've taken a page from that, and we've looked also at our connections. And we've had extraordinary success with the international marketplace. But that's something that came with me here back in 1989 when I had coached a number of international players at Long Island Lutheran High School. So that network was well in place back in the 1980s. And that's what coaches do. They tap into their network. Everett Case tapped into his Indiana network. Frank tapped into his New York network. And, you know, I believe I have a really strong New York network, but we have not been able to get many players out of New York. And so we're expanding, and our expansion went into the international marketplace.
What is it about New York that produces so many really good college players?
Well, they have a lot of people.
Yeah, they do.
And when you have that many people, and you know, New York City itself, 14 million people, and the number of great high school coaches that are there, you're going to see the production of significant numbers. They have dropped dramatically, though, in the last couple of years because many of the New York kids have gone outside of the state to do their high school careers, and it's dropped dramatically. I can recall when I was a high school coach on Long Island, there was 10 to 15 Division I players every year just out of Long Island, and I think that number has markedly dropped as well.
Coach has been head coach at Davidson for 28 years, so you've seen North Carolina basketball evolve, Coach, on the high school level. What is it now compared to what it was when you came here?
Well, it's a reflection of the environment that those kids grow up in, and they're growing up in ACC, SEC, and perhaps Atlantic 10 territory. And front and center every day, they're reading stories about guys that they try to copy, they try to imitate, they idolize, and dreams are created. So I think North Carolina high school basketball has just exploded with the number of great players that play here. Originally, it was not that significant of a number, but that number has increased dramatically. And again, I look at the coaching as well. I think the high school coaches have also found themselves in this ACC hotbed of great coaches. So as a result, they've become great coaches as they have watched the Mike Krzyzewskis and the Roy Williams and the many great coaches that exist here in the state of North Carolina.
Coach Bob McKillop's Wildcats face another busy week. One game at home, one game on the road, and we'll talk about those two contests right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the Bob McKillop Show. The Wildcats, as I said, one game at home, one game on the road in the A10 this week. And, Coach, at home, George Mason, they come in 15-8 and 5-5. What can you tell us about this team?
They're going to spread you out. They've got terrific guards, and they've got a post player, a graduate student named Jalen Jenkins, who has been a thorn in our side. Marquise Moore, a senior, is averaging a double-double playing at the guard spot. He's getting 10 rebounds a game as a guard. Without doubt, I think the best guard rebounder in the country. So they can shoot the ball from three, they can take you off the dribble, they can throw it into Jenkins in the post, and they can get the ball off the glass. So they're going to present a good number of challenges for us.
Coach, and you, on the weekend you go to Virginia Commonwealth. This is a team you've already played. You beat at home 69-63. And they're tied for the top in the league.
Yeah, and they'll be very cognizant of what happened here in Belk Arena, so I'm sure that they'll be very, very well prepared. They had a terrific win at St. Bonaventure where they never gave up, and they fought to the end and came away with an overtime victory. So they're riding on a big crest of success right now. A big week ahead for us, great opportunities.
Coach, this is one of the things that's interesting about the A10. You go to different venues like this. Virginia Commonwealth, I forget the number, but they've sold out forever in their building.
7,000 plus, boisterous crowd, really, really up-tempo band, very involved, and a decided home court advantage.
I can notice, since our days in the Southern Conference here, the difference in the Davidson crowd at Belk Arena, not only in the number, but in the noise that's in the building.
You know, I think we're getting a different mix. We have our students, we have our longtime fans, but I think we've been able to attract a number of people who have moved down into this vicinity and have looked to adopt a team. And I think we've been able to gain some new fans because of our membership in the Atlantic 10.
Well, it's exciting basketball. If you haven't been over to Belt to watch the Wildcats play Wednesday night, George Mason comes to town. There's a lot of good basketball to be played. Davidson enters the week 12-9 overall, 5-5 in the A10. So a lot of basketball left. Coach, good luck this week, and we'll talk to you next
John,
week.
we're so close. We've had 5 losses, and in each one of those losses, we had opportunities to win the game. And I told our players yesterday that on February 4th of 2014-15 season, we were 5-4, not 5-5. We wound up winning the regular season championship. So we generally play our best basketball in February because our guys work so hard. Let's hope that we continue to get better as a team and go through the month of February with the kind of success that we think is very possible.
Okay, Coach. Good being with you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for watching, everybody.